Jai Hind. So recently there has been a jolting news of 8 naval veterans as they have been sentenced to death, and a lot of narratives is seen and heard. So here's my little work and research on this subject matter. As an Indian and as a veteran, my heart goes out for my fellow citizens. This is not only shocking, but it also gives us, or enable you to join various dots. So a lot is happening around the world since last few years. Wuhan virus, Russia, Ukraine, Niger coup, lots in America, the turbulence in global economy. And this is all geopolitics. A power of power, nothing more or less. Power of currency and power of territory, power of military bases, investments. So please keep this as a base and then understand the dynamics of the Middle East and influence of America. Quickly, let me take you through the Middle East and the countries located there with their interest. Let's understand Oman first, an important nation which has always followed the policy of neutrality. People follow Ibadi Muslim faith. Now, with the foreign policy of neutrality, Oman had relations with Saudi Arabia, Iran, and even with Israel. In 2020, Haytham bin Tariq also continued with the policy of neutrality. Oman didn't even join the Abraham Accord and continued their relations with Israel. In fact, Oman, which is bordering Saudi Arabia, UAE, and Yemen, established clandestine ties with the Jewish state in the 1970s in order to obtain military assistance against Dhofar Marxist rebellion. Israel helped Oman to eradicate and crush this rebellion group. At the security level, defense level, and at an intelligence level, they have covert ties. Oman have their covert ties with Israel and they work together. Many retired Oman military officials, they work in Israeli intelligence companies in their front organizations. Now let us understand this Qatar, ruled by Al Thani family, rich in natural gas, and thus America has their interest in them. Old habit of America. During the Cold War, when America was negotiating with GCC and Saudi Arabia, Americans knew the richness of natural gas of Qatar, and they started nurturing Qatar. How? Now the Al Thani family is a relatively modern and a liberal family. Al Jazeera is owned by Al Thani family. The unique thing is Al Jazeera never discuss Al Thani's practices. They always talk about UAE, Saudi Arabia, Syria, etc. Then there are many Western journalists which are considered to be sent by CIA. Okay. Now America has also seen Qatar, and they have kept their eyes on Iran. Subsequently, in 1996, America made Al Udeid Air Base, and this air base was the biggest in Middle East. The US forces monitored Middle East and Iran from this energy-rich nation, which was nurtured by America. Iran is Shia and Al Thani family is Sunni. Qatar's working relationships with traditional US adversaries such as Iran have made it an invaluable partner for the US and with other Western countries. Now, the complexity of Qatar's geographical location in the Persian Gulf was such that if anything would have happened between America and Iran, it would have had an adverse impact on their world trade of their natural gas. They were categorically told about this adverse economic impact on their trade by Iran. Then in 2001, the geopolitics changed and the ties between Iran and Qatar started. Now this tiny Persian Gulf country of Qatar, they choose a Herculean task for itself to mediate between United States and Iran. As Qatar's Foreign Minister Sheikh Mohammed bin Abdul Rahman Al Thani put it on February 10th in Doha, they said, we are working on the de-escalation through a political and diplomatic process. To this, Al-Thani spoke to US National Security Advisor. Now, Qataris have good reasons to do this. An outright conflict between Iran and the US will put Qatar on the front lines. After all, home to the largest American military base in the Middle East. The Qataris developed their clandestine intelligence relations with their Iranian counterparts, unlike many other countries. Now, I'm not going deeper into this because our aim is something different. Now, this was a threat. The growing relations between Qatar and Iran was also a threat to Israel. And they signaled this to America. In 2000-2001, America played another game and they encouraged Qatar to have private partnerships. And Qatar introduced public and private partnership law for consulting by private companies and import of defense parts to modernize their own military. Now, America's plan was to get its own private companies in Qatar and to have access to Qatar's military and further to keep an eye on Iran and of course Qatar. Parallelly, Russia, Turkey, Iran and Qatar started their engagements and collaborations. Now, Qatar and Russia strengthened their relations as Russia's interest in Qataris was to counter America in Afghanistan. Now, Qatar was also looking to strengthen their navy and they chose Italy from Europe. I'll just touch a little more into this. Italy was adversely affected after the Eurozone economic crisis, and by 2013-14, Italy managed to sustain itself during the crisis. And to reform, they decided to go to Asian markets. America didn't help them to get into the Asian markets. They wanted to be a transit trade hub of Europe. Italy collaborated with China in the BRI, and in 2019, Italy joined BRI. Italy was the only nation among G7 nations to join BRI, not liked by Americans again. China took Italy to the Middle East market. Now, Qatar here was looking for a nation to modernize its military, its navy, and Italy was also looking to expand its market. Qatar modernizes its naval architecture at submarine level through Italy. Now, deals were signed and customized submarines were designed for Qatar for their Persian Gulf. Now, CIA used, now all these things were seen of course by Israel, and it was definitely Israel could feel this as a emerging threat and they informed Americans. Now, CIA used, or I should say contacted its friend in Qatar, Major General Tariq Khalid Al-Ubaidi, who was the head of international operations of Qatar, and told him to create provisioning of a private company to provide submarines to Qatar. The government of Qatar agreed to have assistance at the submarine level from America. Now, CIA invested, and along with Israel, Mossad, they opened a front organization. Israel picked a retired Oman Royal Air Force officer, Khamis Al-Azmi, and opened Dhahra Global. Now, to understand what is going on between Italy and Qatar, Dhahra Global was told to make a project report, which was kind of made by America and Israel. And it was made in a very professional way. And when it was given to the government of Qatar, they liked the report and the contract was given to Dhahra Global, which entered the market of, and then they entered the market of Qatar. Now, when Dhahra Consultancy opened their tender, they wanted naval officers, and that's why many naval officers, including India, Middle Eastern, they joined this company. Now, the Qatar government tasked Dhahra to send their employees to Italy to do research on these submarines, so that which they were getting from Italy. Now, our Indian officers were sent on this project and they entered GSC, an Italian company which is of naval architects. Now, they studied about what can be the requirements of Qatar, and they told them to make stealth submarines. Now the problem started here when Pakistani ISI agents, they saw Indian veterans in Italy. Be it serving or retired, for them they were Indians, and India is not having any kind of defense collaboration with Italy. Here they suspected, and they could not understand the presence of Indian veterans in Italy, as we don't have any major engagements. Now when they researched, they told this to China MSS, and then when they learned they are working on behalf of the Qatar government, then they cautioned the Qatar government. Now the Qatar government told its National Intelligence Agency to investigate about Dhasmana and its credentials, and they came to know it was a front organization supported by Israel and America. Then things started and Qatar played a game. They had decided that the Indian veterans were staying in Qatar and they were working for the company which was supported by Israel and America, and they had to, kind of teach a lesson. They cancelled the contract with Dhasmana, shut down its operations, arrested its chief, and even dismissed their Major General Tariq Khalid al-Ubaidi and arrested him. Further, to take revenge, in 2021, Qatar, along with Pakistan, Iran and Turkey, they made the QTPI access, with the blessings of Muslim Brotherhood and hub of radical Islamists. Now they started an economic subversion campaign with 4 people. ISI sent Muhammad al-Sagir, who's a member of IUMS Board of Trustees. He is known to be a theologian of terror. The second was sent by Turkey's intelligence agency, Samil Kalam Abdin. The third person was Ahmad Mufaq Izaidin, and the fourth was Yasir Abu Ilani. Now a campaign was started by these 4 radicals in 2021 targeting their enemy nations. Pakistan started propaganda on social media, even on Twitter, against Indian naval veterans. Turkey joined this campaign by targeting Mohammed bin Salman as a friend of India and projecting him as a not so good Muslim, as he is prioritizing Bharat. Now Pakistanis started this campaign, so everything started getting against India, and making these 8 veterans as a kind of center of as a kind of epicenter. Now Turkey wanted the revival of Ottoman Empire, and it was possible only when they could have tarnished the image of Saudi Arabia by setting a narrative that MBS engages with nations like Bharat, where Muslims have to face atrocities. Now Qatar was only waiting for an opportunity to target Bharat. In 2022, I2U2 alliance was made between India, Israel and UAE. They got together by isolating Qatar and Iran, and then in 2022, Qatar announced the imprisonment of these 8 naval veterans. The charges were not told in 2022, and then they waited for another opportunity to demean Bharat in 2023. After G20 meeting, when this Middle East Europe corridor IMEC was proposed and announced, they saw Saudi at the forefront in the corridor along with Iran. Then along with Iran, Qatar announced the naval veterans as spying in Qatar on behalf of Israel. And of course, since Bharat is supporting Israel during this Hamas attack, they intentionally did this during this time. So in this chronology, Qatar was looking only and only for an opportunity which started in 2021 and it ended in 2023. And we have also seen all the trigger factors of these radical Islamic nations that prompted them to take this action of sentence to death of our naval veterans. Now in this entire story, the highest power of the Qatar, the most interesting thing is that the highest power of Qatar, Al Thani family, is not at all directly involved in the intelligence in this case. Only the intelligence agencies are involved. Qatar, a tiny gas-rich country on the Persian Gulf, has historically friendly ties with India, and trade has been a central pivot, with India sourcing 40% of its liquefied natural gas that is needed from Qatar, accounting for nearly half of global imports according to an official data. Now, according to Deutsche Welle, DW, it is a customary in Islamic states to grant pardon during the holy month of Ramadan. Fortunately, in Qatar, a request for pardon does not entail a long red tape. The Emir's office recommends a decision. So yes, where the India and Al Thani family relations are also having testing times, we hope to have our naval veterans back soon and safely. That's all from my side. Jai Hind. Thank you.